Hey, we're live. Welcome to Crippled System, episode 142.
The end of the world.
We're late.
Yes, we are.
The official sponsor of all Oregon militias.
Yeah.
Are you sure it's a militia?
Well, they're white people, so it's a militia.
Oh yeah.
I like it. It's like, we're not terrorists. It's like, yes, you are. I'm sorry, are you an armed group
Can you imagine
seizing control of a government
Could you imagine
building?
if 150 Muslims took over a government building anywhere? Can you imagine the complete shitstorm? Like everyone at Fox News would have they would have died of their erections.
I love when black people are killed by a cop. It's like, well, they should have listened to authorities. And then when ranchers have an armed standoff with the FBI, well, they're just Americans protecting their rights. It's like, okay, racists.
Yeah, when I first heard about the news on it, I thought like, holy shit, that's some big news about it. So I went to like CNN, and they had nothing on it.
Yeah.
Probably
CNN or
some cat videos
MSNBC. I found it odd that the breaker of the news of that was like Reddit. Like, really?
They should all be hanged for treason.
Are you fucking kidding me? Hey, I'm Andy.
And I'm Brian.
I'm Nathan.
Brian.
Yay! There's a lot of energy in this new year.
Energy.
There is.
Woohoo!
Tum-tum. I went to Sambas for brunch.
That was a long time ago.
Why didn't you invite others?
I would not have-
I would have gone.
I would not have gone.
There you go. See, no, I had a friend visiting, and we went to Sambas and we ate, and it was nummy.
Your friend from yesterday when you board game?
Yeah.
Cool.
We played Axis Allies 1914. I won. I'm technically he rubbed it in with an anecdote. I'm technically undefeated against him because the one time he was annihilating me, and I think it might have been revised. We wanted to go, like we were running late to go to see a movie or whatever, and he's like, "All right, Nate, we have to go. I obviously have you beaten." And I'm like, "No, we're playing this out, or you're conceding." And I forced him to concede, so I'm still undefeated because that's the kind of douche I am.
2-0.
No,
Speaking
a
of
fuckload of Axis Allies.
running to movies, you can't do that anymore in our town.
Yeah, no, yeah. That's why I didn't see Star Wars right away.
Well, I also ranted about it yesterday too.
Yeah, Brian had a nice
I saw your thing on
Facebook.
Facebook.
Yeah, about
Reserve seatings. I mean, I like reserve seatings in the fact that if I go pick up my mom, I'm going to go see a movie. I can go to the theater. I can say, hey, I'm going to go see this movie with my mom. I can buy the tickets, and because with her disability, I can just get there. There's no wait, having to rush. We can still get our seats, and it's simple. But it kills the, hey, I have a movie starts in half an hour. I'm bored. I'm going to go see a movie because all the seats are taken.
Right.
So it's a very double-edged sword. There's positives and negatives. It just kills your random movie viewing. You have to plan ahead for all your movie viewing in Madison because everything is going to assigned seatings.
Jim and I went to go see Star Wars Saturday morning at 8:45. So you figure 8:45 on a Saturday morning, you wouldn't have any much troubles. We showed up about 15 minutes before the movie was going to start, but the only seats that were available were like neck cranking seats up in the front.
Yep.
Well, then if you have two friends who are going, if one of them doesn't buy the tickets, then you risk not sitting together, and it's all this things like.
Well, and like you said, like if the four of us all each bought one ticket, even if it's for a movie a week from now, like we have to make sure we get seats next to each other, unless one person buys all four and the other people give them cash. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes you do that, and like your coworker gives you cash, so you buy 2 tickets, and then your wife finds 2 tickets to a movie in your pocket when she does laundry, and she's like, "Who did you go to the movies with?" And you're like, "Some girl from work," and they're like, "Why did you buy tickets?" And then it's a terrible, terrible thing. Hypothetically,
Nathan calls that Tuesday.
it was actually Wednesday because I went on Tuesday.
But yeah, so it's a challenge. I find it obnoxious. I mean, I love the theaters have gone to the less seats but more comfortable recliners, and it's nice and great. And like a lot of the market theaters are going to more of the larger screens too. Like they'll,
And they've got all recliners now, and
some Prairie's 100% ultra screens are bigger. I mean, it's all but the spontaneous movie going, which I do quite a bit, is now nearly impossible. Unless the movie's been in the theater for a few weeks, and obviously it won't be a big rush, but I wanted to see things that have only been out the last 2 weeks, so it's just impossible to see anything.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not going to go and sit in the front row or the very, kind of along the wall or in the hallway.
I think row 4 is where I cut it off.
Yeah, there's
anything before there is.
There's
is
that
not
break in the
good.
middle where the aisle is, and then past that, I'm okay.
Yeah,
There's the front three and then the break.
yeah. I went middle-ish and give me 6 to 8 rows in the middle, and that was my sweet spot. But
I also don't know if I'm a super big fan of the recliner thing. I was just like, maybe this is just me being overly like,
it's you being overly whatever you want to
yeah,
say.
whatever. But I was thinking too much about it, and I was like, man, I'm like reclined watching this movie. If somebody just decided to come in here and shoot the place up, I'd be fucked. Because I'm not getting up from my like relaxed position. Like you got to push the button to get the fucking seat down, and you got nothing to hide in front
Like
of.
if you were
Excuse me, good
sitting
sir.
upright, you were going to Chuck Norris the shit out of that situation.
Hey, this fat man's got moves.
That's really what the breaking point was. Like you were Captain America if your 90-degree bend was on, but once you're laying down, you're helpless.
Well, the thing is, though, is like, yeah, you
like a
kind of
child.
are because you can't push it down with
Turtle
your
on his
legs.
back.
You can't push it down with your legs.
Yeah,
You have to push the stupid button.
what's annoying is sometimes I like to put my arms on my sides, and then I always hit that fucking button too. As I
So
it's
don't
annoying.
recline.
Yeah,
But the if you sit with your significant other or a friend, when one goes up, the other one has. to
No,
go.
No, they don't.
No,
No, they
no,
don't.
it's-
I thought that the one.
they're
No,
individual
it's
seats.
completely individual. Are you? Maybe you were.
Oh yeah, never mind. They are.
Yeah.
Because I remember Amanda figured it out before I did.
That, wait,
To the shock of nobody.
how were you accidentally both reclining? Like,
No, it was me just not remembering it right. So
Oh, okay.
She had figured it out
they're
first,
different
and that's
buttons.
the only reason why I remembered that they didn't go up at the
so
same
like
Only
the
a
first
man that presses
time,
buttons.
your first experience in this situation is both of you sat down, both of you reclined at the same time,
And a
you
gunman,
th-
and a
you
gunman
thought it
came
was-
into the theater and he couldn't save himself.
Well, then we were also like at that break point where there was like just a safety rail in front of us, and I was like, I have no cover. This is terrible.
you had cover. Amanda was right there.
It's a shame when you're in a public place, you're thinking about your safe defense from the masked gunman who's going to come get you eventually.
Excuse you, they are not masked in
Mask.
theater. Oh, mask, yes. I thought you said mask.
No, man, no, usually.
No, mask gunman. That's fine.
Yeah, it's like I'll go to this place, but I had multiple friends like, yeah, I'm not going to see Star Wars opening weekend because if I was a crazy person, that'd be the prime time to go kill people in a theater. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I mean, it's just dumb that that's a thing that comes in a head now as a thing to do.
But think of how many movies since Batman.
yeah,
Batman came out,
It's still,
But
and
it's happened
that-
again.
it's still typically it's
Trainwreck. It happened at Trainwreck.
Oh yeah, it did. It
Although
did.
to be
yeah.
fair, those were people seeing an Amy Schumer movie, so they deserved it.
Hey, that's first of all, you're making a joke, but she's great.
Yeah, I've heard she's a terrible person though. But
I don't care. She's funny.
right,
Tom
yeah,
Cruise is a
exactly.
terrible person. I love his movies still.
Who?
Tom Cruise is
Tom Cruise. Yeah.
He's a
Well,
terrible person, but I
he's a
still like his
monster.
movies.
Yeah,
Pip likes Tales from the Borderlands.
It's good. He did. He's.
Well, that's because Tales from Borderlands is good.
I mentioned this to him, and you have mentioned on Facebook. You and I'm only on chapter. I finished only the first 4 chapters, but the Game of Thrones. How far have you finished? The
Yeah, I
6
finished
chapters?
the whole thing.
So I don't spoil anything.
I
obviously,
will
but,
make sure to spoil.
But in the first 4 chapters, in all the Telltale games, obviously it's story based, and it's always choice A, choice B. Walking Dead, the big thing is who lives and dies, which is kind of rough. And Telltale games is kind of just your answers are which answer is cocky and funny to you. But Game of Thrones is like which witty would be raped. It's like it's just every option in game. I have played 5 Telltale games. I have never paused the game more to walk away from a choice than in a Game of Thrones game because
this is your 5th one.
I've played both Walking Deads. I've played Wolf Among Us and
Tales from the Borderlands. Yeah, so that's okay.
This
just
is the
make sure.
5th. I have had to pause this game more than any of the other games because the 2 choices are always just fucking atrocious and bad for me. And I'm like, oh my god, I can't fucking deal with these choices. And no one, it's so Game of Thrones because everything is miserable and terrible and awful, and everything is just awful, and it's great, but it's just
Yeah.
it's the most emotional wreck.
I think the first experience I had with a game where you could like kind of dictate what happens in it by what you say was Dragon Age, and in that one there was like the obvious good answer and the obvious bad answer, and then the meh, let's just forward the storyline answer.
Yeah.
But in this one, it really is just like, do I want you to stick a plunger up my ass or your 1987 baseball trophy?
Yeah.
Like there's really no.
I'd go with the plunger.
I probably
And you
would
know,
too, but it
why-
depends on which
Handle
direction.
it. Yeah, I was gonna say.
And one of your choices is going to kill some
You can stick
loved
to
one of the
things.
character in some awful way. And It's just
Is this
terrible.
one character? all the
No,
way
it's
through?
No,
like
it's
Game
the
of Thrones.
whole
You,
fucking
you,
family.
you kind of take
No,
it's-
but
you're-
yeah.
You're the Forrester family, so you're every chapter. You're a character in the Wall, a character in King's Landing, and a king across the sea.
Because I was thinking with Borderlands, and for anybody who hasn't played it, is going to finally play it now that Pip says it's good.
yeah, finally
Um,
we got the Pip
is-
seal of approval.
But he likes us, so he
I'm on
obviously has
part
bad
one.
taste. I think it would be kind of neat to play that as a 2-player game, and have you just sit there together and
Just flop back and forth.
Flop back and forth. Have one person play Reese and one person play
Which
what's
you
her
could
name?
for that, but in Game of Thrones, I
There's
think
like
you're
8
5 or
characters.
yeah.
It's too many then. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I know the Muse guys talked about playing Until Dawn that way.
Yeah.
Like party mode with.
He just had because one person controlled it. And he just made they did pass it around for the different people
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah, it'd probably be easier to pass it around in Game of Thrones, just because in Until Dawn, like there can be points where you go like a good half hour as the same person, or at least 20 minutes. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but in Game of Thrones, it's just like I'd make some stupid choice, and I'd be like, "What the fuck happens to me now?" And then I'd fade away to another character, and it'd be such a cock tease. I just wanted to figure out.
It gives you 2 choices. You know they're both awful, and it's like okay, and then it's like you know at some point both choices are just gonna come back on you.
Exactly.
So fucking hard.
I don't even know if there's a way to make it so that everybody lives at the end. I just don't.
It's
I
Game
don't
of
know.
Thrones. Of course there isn't.
Yeah,
There's
they
gotta be
die along
something.
the way. It's like, oh my god, it's the worst. It's great, but man, I can't play those chapters back to back. I have to play a chapter, wait a few days. That's like I can't handle the emotions
Yeah.
of the awfulness that just happened.
I kind of feel weird having started the Game of Thrones Telltale game first, because now that I've gone to Tales from the Borderlands, it just doesn't have the same impact that one did.
Tales of the Borderlands to me had the least impact in choices. There's actually some pretty big diverse choices because in some of the games, like chapter 3 or 4, sections of the game is completely different. There's different characters that are involved based on your choices, but it's not quite as abysmal, awful decisions you're making. But there are radically different things occurring based on your choices, which is still cool.
And like I said when we talked about the Tales from the Borderland, I actually liked the fact that it was less impactful, not impactful from gameplay, but as far as emotionally devastating choices, because it freed me to care less, and then I felt like I played it more naturally.
Yeah.
Whereas in the game, I haven't played the Game of Thrones, but in The Walking Dead, I was always mindful of this is the correct choice and this is the
Yep.
shithead choice. Whereas in Borderlands, I'm like, let's see what happens. It made me. I actually think I was more true to my inner person playing Borderlands because I wasn't thinking about what I was supposed to do.
Although I'm in the Game of Thrones, I'm always mean to one particular person whenever I have a choice, and I'm always with one of the characters like, you know what? And this family member is already fucked. I've already made like 8 bad choices, so I'm just gonna see how far down the rabbit hole I can go because I've already gone down the rabbit hole in King's Landing, so I'm just gonna keep burying that fucking needle because nothing's gonna end well there. So I'm just gonna keep fucking.
Well, in Game of Thrones, or not, God, I keep saying Game of Thrones. Walking Dead season 1 was that way, but it was with Clementine. I mean, the whole point of Walking Dead season 1 was be nice to Clementine.
Yeah.
Like nothing else mattered.
I feel the other thing about Game of Thrones, when you're talking about being the nice person or being your internal self, I feel like Game of Thrones warped me into a worse person because I got to this point where I'm just like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to do this. Fuck that bitch. And just like bury, like you said, you're just like kicking dirt on people after you've pushed them onto the ground. Like you have to be unrelenting in that game. If you give a little bit, things will bite you in the ass.
So badly.
I do like the little how many percentage of people pick this choice or whatever.
That's it of all the games.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see what the rest of the world did in your stead.
Yeah, people should always play those Telltale games. I love them. Jim, of course, did not like Tales of the Borderlands.
No, he didn't.
He did not what?
Jim did not like Tales of the Borderlands.
Yeah, he also didn't like John Wick or.
I was going to some movies on Saturday. I'm like,
He did not like Tales of the Borderlands.
I was just bored to read. I was like, what?
Did you play the whole thing?
No. He played like half a chapter one and got bored.
Like, I almost. The closest I've come. Let me start this again. We oftentimes, all of us, even those that aren't particularly nerdy, think about cosplay. Like what cool characters might it be kind of cool to dress up as. Even if you never do, in the back of your head, you have your plan B.
I'm with you.
The closest I've ever been to almost saying, fuck it, I'm going to find the materials and make a costume is I was going to make the hostage taker from Tales from the Borderlands that they're telling the story to.
Oh, okay.
Because that guy was cool.
Yeah.
The hostage taker, isn't it Zero?
No,
the guy with like the built-in umbrella hat and the one eye that has him that they're telling the story to.
Yeah, he sounds like Zero.
Well, he's got a robotic voice
Yeah,
similar to that, but he's much shorter and burlier than Zero. But yeah, it's that same robotic style voice. He's not 7 feet tall and emaciated thin though. But that guy's cool. I like that guy.
Yeah.
I'm actually halfway through the first. I had no idea it was actually it's like 4 hours long per episode.
Yeah, they can drag. You get your money's worth in a Telltale game.
Yeah, I had no idea because I started episode 1. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a nice 20-minute thing. I'm gonna be having fun, and like an hour later, I'm not even into the second story. I'm like, Jesus. So no, I like it. I like it so far. I like the robot.
Oh, Loaderbot?
Loaderbot.
Loaderbot is love.
He's
Absolutely.
I'm
going to name my firstborn child Loaderbot.
I told him self-destruct was my first child.
You son of a bitch! How dare you?
It took him a while to forgive me. It was kind of a funny forgiving moment. There's a good bro moment between the two. Eventually, after they settled their differences.
Yeah,
but
no, I had him escape, and so the next time I saw him, he was just like, "Beloved father, I have returned." I'm like, Loaderbot.
No, he was mad at me.
I'd imagine so.
I almost want to take that choice now just to see what the reaction.
Tactically speaking, he probably should have self-destructed right then. There were lots of bandits there.
I was taking the selfish route.
He just like flew in a circle and then over a hill is basically what he did for me.
I don't know if I'm super yippy about the Batman one that's going to drop later. Or
They were going to do a Minecraft one too.
I just don't.
Minecraft is they've started that one already.
Like, there's what?
There's a story version.
Do you want mine ore or mine wheat? You pick one, and then the chapter's over.
Based on all of their games being enjoyable, I will probably continue to play every every Telltale game until they show me one that's not enjoyable.
That's why we get Brian into Minecraft. Yeah,
There's no mythos to Minecraft.
I don't disagree. It does
There's
seem
a
weird
survival mode in that.
There's a world built around it. I mean, there's a world there, and that's about all they have.
With those weird
But other than
dick-faced
that,
villagers?
Yeah, other than that, you're just skinning a story that's probably stupid with
I mean, I
Minecraft.
played The Wolf Among Us with no concept what that was about until I just.
Those comics are so good, though.
The game was really good.
Yeah, you should read the Fables comics. They're good.
Anyway, that was a tangent that came out of nowhere. I blame Pip for mentioning. Pip mentioned Tales of the Borderlands. We wanted a Telltale spiel.
Yeah.
So it's all Pip's fault.
Good job, Pip.
We got some more possible snacks from Germany.
Yes.
Sweet.
I love German snacks because I'm German and I like German things.
I've noticed as I'm trying to just not eat as much, how much food people give you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I just eat in general. Like wherever I go, people always like, here, have some of this. I'm like, thank you. Question mark. It's just amusing to me.
Speaking of spoilers, I saw Star Wars. So can I talk about Star Wars now?
No, we gave that spoilers last week.
Oh, okay.
I don't. Hold on.
We can have a 5-minute Nathan rant about Star Wars.
No, I'll just hold. I'll wave my hands the whole time I'm talking. Oh, that doesn't do anything. Okay,
No,
so
it
first
says
of all,
Star Wars spoilers there now.
Chewbacca just walks right the fuck past Princess Leia.
Yeah,
Just
there's.
suck it, bitch.
Well, no, he doesn't. She just.
He walks right past her.
She also goes to embrace.
How much better of a scene would it have been if the two of them embrace and Rey just watches it, like from an outsider's perspective, and sees this emotional moment between two friends? Nope, just fuck you, bitch, and walks past.
What they could have really did is they could have just cut from the scene before when they first arrive there, and she goes to hug, and Chewie just walks by and then hugs Leia.
Yeah,
they could have just cut that part and just placed it in the end there. It felt weird that she went to embrace Rey when she had no idea who Rey was at the time. Unless there's something else in there.
No, it's just stupid.
No, unless there's something else in there from storytelling.
I don't think there is. I think it was just Rey's the main character of this movie, so the main character has to interact. They can't have two side characters interact with each other.
It's unfortunate. I mean, I definitely do agree, and I didn't think about it at the time, but someone pointed it out later, and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, it's one of the things that I would agree is a flaw, but it doesn't really ruin my value of the movie. But
no.
Another one is Spinny Taser Club Stormtrooper.
People love the fuck out of that guy.
They love the fuck about that guy, but the thing that would have made that much better is if instead of him, that was Captain Phasma.
Yes.
Yes, that would have been.
The entire fight scene was Gwendolyn Christie beating the living shit out of Finn.
Yeah.
That she should have, which we did talk about last time, but she should have had more of a role.
Yeah, more. Like I was saying, she should have more, and then I saw somewhere else somebody said that should have been Phasma. I was like, oh my god, you're right.
Yep.
Like the movie's 1,000 times better if that scene is between Finn and the captain,
Yeah.
and she beats the shit out of him, and
And
then
then
she
gets
she's
stunned,
forced to
take out-
retreat or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and then she can come back next movie or whatever, and then just have a random schmuck put down the shield. Like,
Yeah. Although the little cult thing falling a building on this guy amuses me a little bit. So
Yeah.
as a secondary thing, it's okay.
Yes.
But that would have been a better choice. But I've seen a lot of funny videos because of it, the way they did it.
and then the movie should have ended when the Millennium Falcon took off from the Rebel planet at the end.
Hey,
She goes off, and then the movie ends.
Yeah, that would
I
have been
understand
fine.
they wanted Skywalker in the movie. You can't have a Star Wars movie without Mark Hamill. I get it, except that was just dumb.
he got paid $1 million for that.
It,
thing.
it felt like that should have been the opening sequence for the next movie.
Yes.
In
Well, I mean,
my second viewing,
it probably will be kind of ish.
probably my second viewing of the film, that basically made me feel like, it felt like it should have ended by now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
But I
I'm
will
curious
say-
how the fuck they found that lightsaber though.
Yeah, because that's the one that fell off his hand at Cloud City. So they found it somewhere. Because wasn't that planet a gas giant?
I believe
That's
so.
what Cloud City was doing, was just mining the gas. So there's no even solid planet for it to have landed on.
Yeah.
Like someone went into the crushing depths of this giant space cloud.
Well, when flying, I mean, he fell down a thing too, so
It
it
could
could
have
have got
landed
stuck
in
in
possible.
Cloud
Cloud
City
9.
someplace.
It's possible it might have been picked up by something else as it was falling down.
Yeah, in the extended universe, they find his hand like in a vent, and they actually clone him from it, and they
Oh,
make a character
yeah.
named Luke with a double U, because all the clones had a random double letter in the extended universe.
Did you see there's a men's group that's all trying to like be bragging about how they're affecting the movie for making money and all this stuff? There's all this like nonsense.
Those people are stupid,
Yes,
and I hope
I
they
know.
all die.
Is it that same militia that's in Oregon?
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think it seems like they'd be
Same
the same
people who hated Mad Max, probably.
Yeah, it is the same men's group who hated Mad Max. They're
Yeah.
mad about this. How dare women have rights and are filmed?
And then a good thing is Kylo Ren was the most perfectly handled character I've seen in a long, long time
Oh, he was-
in cinema.
He
Because that was brilliant. If the filmmakers had tried to give us Darth Vader, they would have failed. So instead, they gave us a character that was trying to be Darth Vader and failing. And that was a brilliant decision.
But still, yet powerful. But yet still, but
Right.
but still,
yes.
exactly.
But they knew they couldn't possibly make somebody better than Darth Vader.
Yeah.
You just fucking can't. And so instead of trying, they give it something like, this guy's really cool. We know he's not better than Darth Vader. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
It's like, well done.
And then I mentioned last time, like the actors are so good in this role.
Yeah.
I thought you did it perfectly. I thought we got to finally see what the 20 years in between episode 3 and 4 would have been like.
Yeah.
With Vader throwing tantrums at the very beginning. I'm sure he would have. I'm sure he would have been a little emo.
I was mad that the film did not have Wedge Antilles in it. No, don't you mad? Wedge Antilles is the fucking bomb. There are 8 characters, 8, that are in the original 3 films, all 3 of them.
Yeah.
Luke, Leia, Han, Chewie, C-3PO, R2-D2, Darth Vader, and Wedge fucking Antilles.
Yeah, which is a thing.
He's my favorite character in the entire Star Wars mythos. I was really mad he was in there.
You
Poe
forgot-
Dameron could have...
Forgot one.
No, I didn't.
Boba Fett.
It's not in all 3 of them.
He is actually.
He's not in New Hope if you don't see the fucking bastardized edited one, so fuck you.
Well, he's just staring at the camera for no apparent reason. It's like for
Where Han
some
just
reason-
steps on Jabba's ass and gets away with it. Fuck.
I like how all the extra shots of Boba Fett are just him looking at the camera doing something like he's wooing the ladies, or he's just like.
His voice actor died like yesterday, I think. Day before.
Yeah,
recently.
the original.
But I was mad that he wasn't in there because like they could have had him like not Kylo Ren. Poe Dameron originally died when the TIE fighter sank. They were going to kill his character off there and not bring him back. And I was thinking that would have been a perfect way to have Wedge in the story. Like have that be Wedge, and you can even give him his send off and have him die there. Or not, whatever. But Wedge could have been in that movie because I fucking love Wedge. And then I went from mad to furious when I found out the reason Wedge wasn't in it was because the actor who played him turned him down. He said he would be bored being in another Star Wars.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Like he's doing anything with his time.
Actually, his IMDb, he does like 50 things a year. Like
Yeah, but they're not. But he's not big things. He's not little things.
unless you're British. I think he's in
Yeah.
like 12 TV shows at any given time.
He's in a
England.
lot of stuff. I looked him up too after I saw he was not in it too. I was like, oh.
Still, man, how do you
They
turn
missed-
down being in Star Wars?
They also missed a great opportunity too to make Matt Parkman just give his jersey or his suit just say Porkins on it, because he would have been complete as like a Porkins Jr.
Yeah.
Is like a tail, the Porkins son.
Yeah.
Any more Star Wars comments? We can catch up.
Yeah, can we
No,
stop?
no,
Are you done?
I'm okay now.
All right, we're turning this off.
Right now.
Now for some topics of things and stuff.
Well, as a quick one, just because it's like crazy to see what's going on out there in the War Machine world in Wisconsin.
Oh, announcements.
There's almost a War Machine tournament every single Saturday from 2 weeks from now up until the end of February. It's ridiculous. Like Waukesha's having one soon, Green Bay's having one, Baraboo's having one, Madison's having one, Oshkosh is going to fit one in there somewhere. If you are a Wisconsin player and you don't think you ever have time to get to a tournament, you should be able to get one within at least the next few months. Just because there's so many, it's crazy.
Cool. Cool.
It's a renaissance. It's War Machine Renaissance.
Huzzah! Welcome to the Renaissance Festival!
Yeah.
Yeah.
I only want you to talk like Sir Hamlock during all War Machine games.
Who is black?
Yeah, so
So, was it Jim? Who was it? I think there was this big argument our group had when we were playing Borderlands 2, and I insisted that Sir Hammerlock was black, and half of you guys were saying he was just really tan.
He's British.
He can be black and British. They exist. Look at Idris Elba.
Yeah, but he's more black than British.
There's a Venn diagram of black and British, and they're in various spots
I mean,
in the overlap.
he's definitely more British and Luther,
Yeah.
but he's less black. He's more black when he played the one character in that
Heimdall?
No, the HBO show.
When he was the doctor?
No, I can't even think of it. The Wire.
Yeah.
He was more black than British.
He was in The
there.
Wire?
Yeah, he's an amazing
I know, I
character.
was joking.
what's The Wire?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, I've never seen it.
Well, you should. It's on Amazon Prime viewing thing stream.
I am catching up on all other things I was supposed to catch up on. I am 2 episodes away from finishing up Longmire,
Nice.
which I dropped off at the worst possible episode.
You probably did if you.
Yeah.
I watched all of Legends on HBO with Sean Bean.
How was that?
It's really good.
I started
Sean Bean was
watching
awesome.
it.
When Sean Bean's character gets to live longer than a little while, and he gets to like be an entire season of a show, it's pretty cool.
Does he die in the first season?
No,
When they cast Sean Bean as Ned Stark, I laughed and laughed and laughed.
everyone left. Hey, George Martin has just said this weekend he's not going to have his books done for a while.
Yeah, what a surprise.
No,
I totally thought those were coming out next Tuesday.
Yeah, everyone was shocked.
What?
I love now it's not even like a news story anymore. Now it's like, oh yeah, of course, obviously. Like the news will be he's actually ready to go. No one will believe it.
Yeah.
He said he's very busy because he keeps getting invited to things, and if he's going
So
to go.
turn the invitation down,
No.
you useless fat fucker.
He's like, if someone wants me on their show, I would never turn that down because I need attention.
Wait, what?
He keeps.
Wait, no, you can't invite him.
Yeah. We'll get him on the podcast.
Somebody else could invite him, but I don't think Brian could.
Brian sent him gifts.
Yeah,
Brian
I'm
did-
the only person in this room who sent them items.
Yes.
Oh, my Lord. Pip wants us to talk about something, and I think it was a topic we were going to talk about.
So
Yep.
we are now done with announcements. Basically, in Wisconsin, there's events for the next 2 months.
Yeah, it's probably going to be 3 with the league coming out where that's got the special units this time.
about that.
I'm
Yeah,
not
it'll be
sure
really
if what
fun.
you want to talk about or I want to talk about should be first or second because it's kind of amusing to me of the topic ideas.
I feel
Say what your topic is first.
I wanted to talk about the massive bandwagon of War Machine as stagnant and how I oppose that thought.
And my announcement is / topic: War Machine is stagnant. I am officially done with War Machine until we get a new edition or maybe massive write-up changes. I am out. But I also am out on the secondary state of I don't want to be another negative voice that just rambles on about it because I don't think we need negativity about the game. I think that's not helping anything. I think Predator Press will make things better, and I think we will see improvements. And I think it requires patience and not complaining. And I'm in a mental state where all I can do, you could state 20 reasons why you think the game's not stagnant, and I could counterpoint all of them, but I don't see the point in doing that. So I'm not going to in your next segment. But for me, the game has lost the enjoyment to play at a competitive level. Playing casually, I still enjoy it, but I can't enjoy a game that I put $5,000, $10,000 in and spend 75% of my vacation time traveling around the Midwest to tournaments when I don't feel at a competitive level it's anything but stagnant and just unfun. So for me, I'm going to wait to a Mark 2.5 or a Mark 3 or some just massive errata that is, because I mean, their erratas are almost like new Mark versions half the time. The last two erratas have been ridiculous. So maybe their next errata or their next Mark 2.5 or their 3 is going to just rehaul things, and I can look at it and go, okay, that's kind of cool. Because I've always said, in my opinion, and I said this on episode like 1, I would always quit the game when I felt that the variety of models I could choose was just reached a certain percentage mentally. I never had a number and a hard number, but I feel my variety of models of play is just too low, and I don't get the joy out of that. I think there's lists in every faction that work, but I think it's just so small for some factions that it just...
Like if you're using 5% of your faction, then that's just not worth it.
And I don't think that's an example.
I'm
but exactly, I feel the game has reached a point where we've hit whatever that feels comfortable to me. So I am completely out. I say this and then they'll announce. And I don't think we'll get anything kind of big announcement until Lock and Load. Like if they were going to plan a 2.5 or a 3, that would obviously be saved to Lock and Load. They wouldn't like just on a Tuesday just say, hey, new version of War Machine coming.
When is Lock and Load?
It's June.
So, traditionally they always announce something at TempleCon, but there is no TempleCon this year. But there is a CaptainCon that's going on at the same time, and I don't believe that they have the same relationship as what TempleCon had.
No,
in that regards.
And that's kind of why they pushed their Steamroller, I think, because they made those announcements after the TempleCon wasn't going to be a thing, so now they're making their thing yearly based on that. Mm-hmm. And like I said, and there's already too many negative voices out there about the game, and I could easily complain about the game forever, but I just don't see the point to add to more negativity, because it's a decent company, and they've made good stuff in the past, and I think they're going to get back to where it's good. And I have to sound like the old aggression, I've played this game for 10+ years, and I've played Mark II for the 5+ years, and I've played it competitively for a long part of that, and I've played it competitively pretty hardcore for a lot of that, where, I need to see something different happen to the game to get myself excited about it.
Yeah, and actually, tangential to that, so Darkest Dungeon, which I've talked about before on this and recommended a couple times and everything, that I still play that game a lot and I have a lot of fun, but it was on the Steam sale during the holiday sale. And in the Darkest Dungeon discussion thread on the Something Awful forums, we were talking about how, a whole bunch of negative reviews from people who had bought it and everything. And then there was a whole bunch of negative reviews of people that had like 100 hours of playtime in the game. Yeah. And the reviews were like, I used to like this game, but this and that, and now I don't like it, blah, 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 and this and then, and stuff. And some of them, not all of them, but some of them, you can kind of tell, it's hard to tell the difference between this game used to be good, but now it's shit and I hate it, or this game was good and is good, but I've played it to the point of exhaustion and now I no longer enjoy it. And both of those have the same effect, where you do something for a long time and at the end you're like, I just don't enjoy this anymore. But sometimes it's not.
It's not the game.
It's a relationship decaying. It's like we had good time, but you know what? Yeah. I think I've gotten everything I can out of it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so that doesn't mean it suddenly is bad.
And that's that's why even last year I stopped playing for a couple months. I'm like, man, I really feel that I've burnt myself out. Yeah. I think people all the time have taken breaks from War Machine for a couple of weeks or a month, because sometimes you're just doing so much. You got to take a step back for a little bit and kind of just cleanse the palate. And I spent over half of last year cleansing my palate, and I still can't get it back to where I want it to be. And I'm fully gonna. I'm sure some of my negative opinions have some bias in it as well. Like I said, I think it's partially probably me, but I also think the game itself is just like I've never been happy with Colossals existing, even though my factions can deal with Colossals. I can kill a Colossal with my factions better than anyone else can. But the fact that they exist just is a thing that doesn't make me enjoy the game as much.
Right.
Regardless of their efficiency and their good, and it's just them existing has taken the fun away from me personally, regardless of mechanics and rules and the fact. I just, I feel that I feel bad for all the heavy jacks that used to be. I saw before Colossus came out. We started seeing factions using some of the heavies and a variety of heavy. They were on the upswing, and then Colossus just smacked the fuck out of all those things, and it was kind of depressing.
Why would you bring a Stormclad when you can bring a Stormwall?
Yeah, exactly. As a Signature player, the Stormwall is just better than the heavy. You'd be doing a disservice to your competitive level not to take that thing. So and that shrunk the little down. And now with this, some of the current things, and now with this the constant spam, and now the armor spam, and then the heavy wound spam. It's just like, you know. But yeah, I mean, if I want to spend, like I said, you know, I've spent $5,000 plus on every army I've played. I've spent for the last 5 years 75% of my vacation time to travel to events. And the thing is, people are great, and some of that, I mean, I'm still gonna go. If I don't touch War Machine for the next year, I'll probably still go to War Machine Weekend and hang out. I mean, Jim went to War Machine Weekend. He doesn't even like the game either. He still goes to War Machine because it's great people. It's fun to hang out with people and see people I've made friends with in the community,
Right.
and that kind of stuff. So that's
Might
awesome.
run into Hollywood.
Hollywood, yeah, and exactly. And I don't want to turn like Hollywood where everything is the worst thing in the world. Oh my god,
Yeah.
kind of thing. I'm just going to step back because I don't. I think there's too many other podcasts who are all just constantly negative, whining, because there are positives in the game, which I'm sure Brian just wants to dig into because, and that's fine though. It's good. I mean, I'm happy that you can enjoy the game because I used to, when I would see a battle, when I was playing a game, I would look down and I wouldn't see miniatures. I would see like, in my mind, like a battlefield of arrows going this way, and possibilities and all these things that exist and what I could do and what could happen. And it was just like this animated thing I could envision on the battlefield. And now I look down and I just see toy figures. And I'm just like, that's just not the right mentality. I just see things that have no value that are just, I could, you know, it's just different. My brain is just not wired for it. So, but I have confidence that, you know, and Private Press has always shown their willingness to make the game better.
So is Wednesday's just going to be War of the Ring night now?
I'll play War of the Ring every Wednesday night.
Yes.
See, I like your.
I'll announce I'm quitting War Machine too.
What?
You know, I
So-
War of the Ring.
War of the Ring night, Y5!
Well, so I'm again coming off of a break as well, so I've been starting to play a little bit more, and I've been having fun playing recent times too. Of course, I haven't been playing any of the high tournament stuff. I haven't really messed around with any of that in a while, and who knows how I'll feel after I face some of the high-end tournament stuff. But I haven't been playing. I've just been in the scene for a while.
Yeah, and you haven't, yeah. And I used to love like sitting down and saying, okay, now show me I'd love to sit down and, okay, and I want to fight it. I want to fight those other factions like Tough List to see how it plays. And now I fight them, and now it was turning into a chore to fight them than it was an experience of trying to find the puzzle. Because a lot of it's like, okay, Ravana 2 is a hotness, whatever. How do you figuring out the puzzle to beat it was kind of the fun game, kind of thing. But I don't know. But yeah, that's me. That's all I got.
I like your perspective of why you feel like, I'm going to use the quotes for why War Machine's stagnant.
Yeah.
And I think you're approaching it in a way that a lot of other people who are more like vocal about it aren't, and that's that there's nothing inherently wrong with the game. It's the problem is in your perspective on the game, like Nathan said. And it's not a problem like it's this thing that's wrong with you that needs to be fixed. It's just the way you approach it, and that's fine. But there's a mountain of people out there who don't have that perspective, and I think that the vox of like people screaming from the mountaintops that the game's shit,
Yeah.
and that you should just go play something else is kind of like rolling through and kind of training people to think that it's
it
like
doesn't
that.
help because a lot of them feel like a lot of them are 100% the game is bad and they're right and everything is wrong. I'm more of the set that I think the game does have issues and I'm just not willing to deal with the issues, so I'm taking a step back. But I think, there is a lot of just screaming and everything is bad, and they definitely just gets this monstrous roll going forward. And when every podcaster shoots this negative shit out there, it's not even. It's just. Then people wander. You see people. You meet someone and they talk about War Machine, and they're spouting the exact same verbiage that someone online just said. So you know they're quoting random podcast.
Whoever they heard. Yeah. No, I don't know. I think it's something unique to the War Machine community, and maybe it's got something to do with like a lot of our roots being in like the Magic world. But things seem to come out really quick or really rapidly with War Machine. You're always getting like new models or new rules or new spoilers. There's always something out there to tease someone. I can think of right now at least 3 models that we have seen that we don't have rules for that are still like drumming a little bit of excitement for people. I think everybody dusted off their Mana Wars like 2 weeks ago. But it's where the fuck was I going?
I don't know. Is it something about Bretonians?
No, it's the way that we things move so fast. I think that when we talk about stagnation in the game, we've hit an interesting point where right now we should have a new mission packet. Like we just should. And that mission packet or the steamroller packet or whatever, that packet should be extremely different from what we've had recently because Haley 2 you don't have to design missions or scenarios around her anymore. And the big one is you don't have to design scenarios around Denegra 2 anymore because those things have got smacked down pretty hard. I think if that had come out or if there was a tease for it, I think that the stagnation comments would go away quite a bit because it would be a big shock to this game system. But to have to sit here for another 6 months, I think is kind of wearing people out just because I think 2015 was a pretty decent year for War Machine in general. There's so much innovation in that year, which is another reason why I think that the stagnation comments kind of like bunk is that sure, what like EE and Runes is like the big boogeyman of the scene. Like that's just what everybody talks about in anything that kind of spams in the same way. The 30
is the big one. I think people complain about
Runes.
Runes.
The combination, though.
Yeah, maybe it's a combination, but I don't think Runes is an unfair list.
It's been around for a long
It's
time.
an extremely common list, so people are sick of seeing it. But EE is more indicative of what people currently claim is an issue with War Machine.
It is because it takes because the thing is, Runes has a really solid match set. Like there are some things that totally fuck it in the ass, but everything that Runes has a problem with, EE kind of fixes. And I think that's where you get this harmonious singing build between the two, where everything but like P-Scar is going to be really, really a non-issue for you in general. So I think that's where the big issue comes with EE and Runes, and that's EE is kind of built the foundation for all of these other spammy lists. Like, how do I deal with 13 light war beasts? I'd throw 30 Bane Knights on the table. That's how I deal with it. So it just kind of goes from there, and then the big pig push to do like 14 lights or something like that. Yeah. So that's another way to combat it, because EE has no game against it, and Rune sure as shit doesn't.
Right.
So like that's a way to correct for it. But once you
the balance is in.
You're correcting for wound spam with other wound spam.
Yeah,
exactly. You're just building more and more and more.
Yeah, and that's where and that's also response to negativity, because
the other thing though too is the only reason why those two lists even can work is because of the Fury mechanic.
Mm-hmm, exactly, because
both
they can
EE
do a lot of work.
and the spam is the Fury mechanic makes those so they are that much devastating on that
EE more so because of Soothing Song. She gets to abuse that shit.
And it also corrects the inherent problem with Fury 2, is that as the game goes on, Fury becomes a much worse stat to have, and Focus becomes a much more valuable one. But when you have 13 sources of 3 Fury, 3, then it's immaterial at that point.
Right.
So the Hordes player is now doing the things to fix the problem that they have with Fury, and it's just not. It can't echo through to the rest of the factions because they don't have the tools to fix it. I think the big thing is when you're looking at innovation recently, you're starting to see like Gaspy 3's being played more when he's been out of the conversation for so long, and Striker 3's been actually at some higher tables where he's been seeing. I think he's an amazing Trolls drop. He just takes that list and bends it over. But I just don't think that the innovation is extremely visible at that point. Like we don't have. I think it was John Finkel in Magic was like the innovator. Like it was groundbreaking stuff. Everybody had their fingers on his pulse because he was building new and innovative things to counter the things that have been in the game for a really long time. And we just don't have anyone who's really visible doing that. I think that's where the big problems come in when you're looking at stagnancy. So everybody thinks that this meta exists out there where every single game you're going to be like 33% EE, 33% P-Scar and Crix, and then the other 33% is going to be Fist or some other flavor of the year list.
A lot of the big event goers too. Not some of them, like Will Pagani will play any list. He'll rotate through factions faster than anyone to find what he thinks is going to crack the next meta. But a lot of the top players just stick to their one faction and just grind the same thing in the dust forever. Or some of them, because it's when you build all new armies, it takes time and money, so it's hard for some people to rotate around a lot as much because it's a pretty high investment.
Yeah,
especially in the time investment to get things painted for a lot of the tournaments nowadays that want painted. So it adds a little bit of a challenge in that regard too.
No, I understand that point where breaking the meta like that is a little bit more difficult and tough to do. It just seems that there needs to be like maybe a brain trust out there that does it, but that doesn't mean that every common Joe War Machine player should feel like the world's the whole game is stagnant, because like going to local tournaments, you can see tons and tons of different casters, and of course there's going to be people like me there who are dropping like more of their competitive lists, or you're going to see your P scars every now and again. But like I think there were at the Oshkosh event that we went to last week, there were 2 Denny 3 players. There was
I think there was 3.
Yeah, 3. Well, no, there were 2. It's just that Travis thought that 2 people had my Denny 3.
Oh, okay.
But there were a bunch of different casters there that you wouldn't normally see. There was a piece of Various, and it wasn't Harbinger that he was running, which you think you would see from Menoth. So on the local level, I think there's more variance. Madison's a good example, too. Like, I know Donald, one of our local Cricks players, he's like all giddy about Morton Ebra, Out of Theme, and Black Ogre and Boarding Crew.
Locally I agree. I mean locally, but I mean when I think about like a competitive scene, I don't even think Madison. I mean I'm not going to think Oshkosh is competitive. I'm talking I'm talking much bigger con type of things. Locally you're always going to see a crazy diversity, because you're going to have guys who love to push models around, come on the weekend, and they just love this model. They want to play that weekend. I mean, they should play. It's that's their free time, played in a tournament. But you just have you have your 2 or 3 good top dogs and 16 to 20 casuals. I've gone to enough tournaments in enough local places to know, okay, that guy is a guy I got to beat. If I face him in a round of 1 or 2, I know the rest of my day is a cakewalk, because I've gone through that. Now I'm just rolling over the guys who are just there to have fun.
Well, and that is I'll concede that that's one of the issues in competitive War Machine, and I think it also comes back to my point that there's no combo breaker in that set. I mean, you get pretty close with some, like I think in the Invitational, which is a really like not great example, but like I think Jordan was Striker 3 and Haley 2, and Haley 2 isn't a big like surprise or anything, but Striker 3 being in that pairing,
I think Jordan's Knox, one of his strengths is he is such a good player. He's always taken odder things. If what he did could be a thing most people could do, then I wouldn't complain, because he actually is at such a high level of play. He can take 2 random nonsense things.
Well, and that's kind of the thing.
That.
Somebody in the chat brought out the time it takes to practice a whole bunch of games in something like Magic. In Magic, I can play 20 games of Magic
exactly,
in a night.
Yeah. I'll
me in my
agree
room, you could sat down on a Saturday and play Magic 20 times. If I'm going to play 20 games of War Machine, see you in a month, maybe 2. Depending on how many games I can get in a week.
On top of that, some of the tournament players who kind of force the meta to be what it is, when I'm playing competitively, I can get in 30 to 40 games a month. I've gotten 50 50 practice games in a month, not counting tournaments of practice. It's a lot of work, and I'm messaging a lot of people, and I'm setting up game nights 3 or 4 nights a week. When you go to a tournament or a big con, some guys in there have played 100 games a month, and then there's the 90% who've played 4. So you have some of it. It's like there's almost like a pro league of people who just put in this insane work, and then there's the guys who are playing it for fun who play 4 games versus 40 games, and you put them in the same environment. And then the guys who play sometimes you get this weird. Those guys who play the 40 to 80 games are all like, look at how good I am. Well, there's only like 20 of you here who do that out of the 400 or whatever. So really, it's it's this weird separate thing.
Interruption. Is my microphone on? I'm not moving very much over there. Somebody said it sounded like I'm not active. No, I'm moving on that chart. Whatever. Travis might be crazy.
All right.
But no, well, and the thing is, part of that practice is the people who know they can't get a lot of the practice in, then they end up just using those cookie cutter lists.
Exactly.
If everybody had the ability to have infinite practice games with the casters and the models that interested them, I think you'd see a lot more variety, because a lot of that stuff is good if you know what you're doing.
Yep.
My guy that I love Dr. Arcadius, and if you are a casual player and you pick up Dr. Arcadius, you will get raffle stomped by anybody, because he's really, really fucking difficult to use.
His learning curve
He's
is
got
high.
an incredible learning curve. I think that he's an amazingly good caster once you know what you're doing with him, and his new theme helped, to ease that. Those are training wheels. Having Gorax and everything is nice training wheels for you. But there's a learning curve there. And so for somebody who doesn't have time to take Midas or freaking whatever, Kara Sloan or some lesser play. Maybe Venethrax is fucking amazing if you tried him with every single model and fine-tuned him and got 1,000 games with him and broke him open. But until you do that, who's going to bother? Denny 2 is sitting right there, or Star 1 is sitting right there.
Some casters have this dangerous. Some casters have to be every turn within this 2-inch spot of the map where they die. And if you play it a lot, okay, I need to be in this 2-inch radius when I play a game. And other casters can be within a foot of their safety net or safety zone. Based on the caster is humongously different. You're right. Cadius has a very narrow play style. Not narrow, but he has a very specific way he can work really well. But man, he can die so easily accidentally a million ways if you don't know him.
Right. And if you're only going to get 2 or 3 games in a week, which for some people that's even a lot.
Yeah,
some people come out to casual game night once a week and play 1 game.
Yeah.
So if you're going to play 50 games in a year, you have no hope of getting 100 practice games with a difficult to learn caster. So you're going to go on the internet, you're going to find a tournament-winning Haley 2 list, and you're just going to play that.
Yeah.
And so I think that's part of the stagnation. Isn't necessarily the game's fault. It's just that's the reality of a game that takes a long time to play.
I'm about to play Diablo 3 and then the new season. I play Diablo 3 about a month every season.
Yeah.
And I'm only going to play there's 6 characters in Diablo 3.
Yeah.
Every season, one to 3 are good. Half of them are good, half of them are bad. I'm going to verify which ones are good before I play, and I'm not going to pick one of the bad ones because my Diablo time is very limited.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to make sure I'm kicking ass in that very limited time. So that's kind of in War Machine when I play, I can make the time, but so I get that concept for someone who only plays. I mean, for me, people that get married that have kids that have jobs that work too much. I mean, that's all their faults. To get in the way of their War
Those were
Machine.
stupid decisions.
Yeah, those are stupid decisions. You can't. How can you stop?
Side note: in the PG forum, there was the discussion what are you looking forward to in 2016?
Yeah.
And one of the PGs was my first child should be born in another week or 2. I'm also looking forward to having a lot more time to play War Machine. It's no sane person has said those 2 things back to back before.
Yeah.
Now, even though I still will maintain that the game itself isn't so stagnant on the competitive scene, I can see where you would get that just because it is easier to play the competitive lists. I will say that I am a proponent of a big change to the rules. Not so much that there needs to be a whole flip on its side, but a lot of things need to be fine-tuned. And my biggest issue right now is that releases come out and they are really cool when you see the model and you're like, oh yeah, this might be cool here. But after it settles for a week or 2, it really seems like some of those are just really lackluster releases. I think in the last book, Scorn probably poo-pooed on a lot of their releases. So I think that especially when you're looking at things like the Dunian Knot and Doomshaper 3 and Croak Raiders, you're looking at these amazing models that are just, they sing with a lot of other factions and a lot of other lists, but then you look at your stuff and you just don't understand, it was the same person designing these or something. I think that there needs to be some kind of balance in how they release things instead of here's something that's an A class or an S class thing and then trickling something down to your Zal where it's a C, B class. I think that the big thing that I've always liked about the game was that I could tell someone that they could look at a model and if they liked the way it looked, they could buy it and it would work on the table in some way, shape, or form. But I don't think I can do that anymore.
Oh, you couldn't do that before. You couldn't tell somebody that if they really like the look of Sluggers, would you really recommend Sluggers?
I think in the past, there's always been a small percent of really bad models or things that weren't. Well, again, it comes on the percentage thing. I think for a long time, you could still play a wider berth, and now I think it's just
it's more limited. I think the trickle down mechanics from the stagnation from basically a lot of the top podcasts out there, basically preaching that this game is bad has also gone down into the more of the casual guys too, because they listen to these podcasts, they hear about this game, so that affects them in the local meta as well.
Jim was playing against Nate in a game of Lord of the Rings at Pegasus 2 weeks ago or a month ago, and some random guy came in and was just spouting podcast drivel about why War Machine is bad. And Jim was so amused by it because it was just some random dude in Pegasus. And that guy didn't know Jim, and Nate hasn't played War Machine in a couple of years now.
Nate.
Yeah, different Nate.
Nate
Heinz.
Yeah,
the Nate we miss.
He was a good Nate.
He was a good Nate. But this, he's random dude comes up with it, doesn't even play it Wednesday night with our community, comes in and Pagans, just spouting off, the random podcast stuff, verbatim pretty much, which is just kind of amusing.
Yeah, I mean, the other things I hear about comparisons too is comparisons to GW, and it's just,
and there's no, like, when I started playing GW games, I stopped for a lot of reasons and in deep frustration. Like, I feel that Privateer Press, I mean, End of Mark 1, the game was a little off the rails in my opinion. I think everyone agreed it was a little off the rails.
yeah, really.
And I just, and they readjusted, and I think the companies are good about that. And I think we're going to see changes, and I think they're going to make things better. I just need to step away and not just try to stay in this negative zone and just fester in it while I wait.
Oddly enough, I think what made War Machine so, what am I trying to say? What makes War Machine so attractive also might be part of the reason why people are so quick to doomsay about the stagnation, is that it was, depending on how you feel right now, so tightly balanced competitively compared to something like a GW game that you live and die by the balance. Like, Warhammer can be unplayable garbage. And it doesn't matter, because if you like orcs and you just like throwing fistfuls of dice and your orcs are stomping into each other, you don't care. Because nobody in their right mind picks up Warhammer to have a competitively balanced game. You pick it up because you and your friends like orcs and dwarves and you like smashing them into each other, and don't those models look pretty? And so it's not going to fail the same way. And so because the War Machine is built on being competitively balanced, it can die by being not competitively balanced.
Yeah, so maybe that gets to the point of, like, maybe the scales are tipped a little bit too much in one, like they couldn't do the balancing act anymore.
Maybe. I mean, this could be, if this is a stumble, if this is the person on the balance beam leaning and adjusting and then they get both feet back on, that's fine. I mean, you're never going to have something that's flawless for its entire lifespan.
Correct.
And this game's been around for, like you said, over a decade.
Yeah.
It stumbled a bit towards the end of Mark 1 and got crazy off the rails, and they fixed the shit out of that. I mean, Mark 2 was amazing.
Coming from Mark 1 too. I mean, Mark 1 was good, and then they came out with the remix, which fixed a lot of the issues that they were having. Slowly trailed off to the end of Mark 1, and then Mark 2 just really streamlined everything. I mean, I don't think in the current cycle that we're in right now that we're anywhere close to what the end of Mark 1 was. We have some of that creep, but not. I don't think we're at that stage of the end of Mark 1.
To me, I don't think this will have to go on longer before I'm willing to call it stagnation, because don't forget, like, for a while, high defense infantry were breaking the game. I mean, shit like Iron Flesh Chaosi were just impossible to kill, and people were talking about how the game was being ruined by that. And now it's double warders under the stone are impossible to kill, and people are complaining about that. I mean, it goes in cycles, and by its very definition, if it's changing every couple of years what's broken, well, that's not stagnation. But if the armor and Wombstand sticks around for another year or 2 years, I mean, then that's undeniable.
Well, the other challenge is sometimes the cycle was challenging for a few months, and now everything is becoming more challenging is becoming challenging longer and longer.
Yeah.
It's not just like, okay, and it was kind of exciting when we got a new book and we got a new steamroller. Okay, now things are out of whack for a little bit, but it was kind of a neat out of whack while we were readjusting. But then when something's out of whack for extended periods of time, then I just feel like we've had this current level of same stuff with one or two lists sneak in, but one or two lists out of hundreds of combinations doesn't break the mold. It just adds one or two more options to add to the stagnation.
Yeah. What would you think about all steamroller using Masters ADR rules? Would that help?
I like specialists more than ADR. I think ADR is neat for the new format they got going, the champion format. I think it's kind of cool.
But that's mandatory. Your casters must be. What
Oh,
if,
yeah.
what if all steamroller was ADR optional, but you got specialists for like Masters?
If it was specialist and it was for every caster, not just a list of casters, I would like that. I think if you could have specialists, you could just make your two lists and a specialist was a thing, and you didn't have to like be one of 4 casters. I like that option.
But wouldn't that wouldn't solve the stagnation? I mean, then you'd still just bring EE and Rune and just have Lightning Troll versus Pyre Troll as your specialist. Like the thing that the ADR does is it forces you to play Gunbjorn, or well, I guess with Glacier Kings that's no longer a punishment, but it forces you to play, whatever.
But if it's an intriguing option as well. I mean, I don't think in the current format. I think until they look at like all these FA unlimited stuff and all the armor spam stuff. I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying I don't have solutions either. I'm not trying to like say they need it, because that's the thing. Podcasts like, well, the
I
game
don't
is
know how to
bad,
beat
and this is
double
how
borders,
you're
yeah.
supposed to beat. Well,
Yeah.
a lot of it's like not only is the game bad, but here's what you have to do to make it better, and it's not. That gets kind of old too. Is having to listen to people rant how what their solution is, and that's the only acceptable solution. Because they're sending,
Yeah.
then they're sending it to fail. Because then people will make a change. Well, it wasn't my change. I told you I should do.
Yeah,
so.
especially making it so my solution is the number one
Yeah,
solution,
and that's just-
not true.
Yeah,
no.
they're discounting your problems too. Like I don't quite
And that
think
gets
that's a good way to
frustrating.
do it either. But no, I like I think one of the big pushes to making things more interesting when they come out is when we actually get solid rules for champions. I really wish that we didn't have to wait another 6 months for champions to be laid out and solid, because I'd really like to be able to do champions like before the lock and load thing comes around, because I think a limited format
Just
really
get me drunk.
okay. That shouldn't take very long.
That was a joke.
I'll get
Don't
you-
kick me out of the judge program.
I'll get you on your Fallout Twitch.
Just a random follow Twitch. And the champion, you got the
Fuck you, Death Claw. So there's the rules for champions in full. Also, the next three errata.
This next drink brought to you by Brian Kerr. Well, I think that's a good solid fix to like some of the, or like a band-aid to some of the problems. Like your Masters and Iron Gauntlets are still going to have those issues of taking the power lists and the power players doing their power thing. But like for the smaller metas that are trying to like, they exist in this weird world of like competitive but not competitive, which I think Madison's more along the lines of. I think that the Champions format could really save a lot of those stagnation issues.
I'm also intrigued at the concept of instead of forcing 2 lists, let it be 3 lists, and not 3 lists each list, not like 3 lists equal D and C. I think sometimes what was always cool for the longest time is one thing that I like that made me feel good about the game is I could take 2 quasi-balanced lists to handle the various varieties out there. And now I feel I have to take 2 kind of crazy lists to deal with the craziest things out there, and a lot of it's chicken, where maybe in the past my 2 balanced lists could handle 95% of the stuff, and then there's that weird guy who brought the crazy thing that just got by me, but whatever. But that crazy thing wasn't unlikely because it wasn't overall competitive, but it was just that thing that existed that could fuck me. And now I feel I have to take 2 lists, I guess, account for this crazy. I mean, there's always like the Cricks thought. There was always like worry about Cricks with one list, and another list had to catch kind of the catch all of everything else. But I feel now there's so many things you have to catch because the game is expanded, which is cool, but now there's all these things. So now you can't have 2 normal lists. You have to have 2 crazy lists that kind of get in this crazy list chicken nonsense. Where if you had more lists, at least maybe you'd have more list chicken craziness, but at least you'd have a list you felt could handle more things necessarily. But then you get these formats where, well, it's 3 lists, but now you have to play each list once or twice, and now then you get stuck again. It's like, because when you force...
List lock is never enjoyable.
Yeah, list lock is dumb because there are those matchups that are really bad that you have to kind of balance against, and list locking you just get stupid matchups. And some could say, well, it's interesting. Well, no, it's not, because there are just certain things. Oh, in hospital with caster versus someone who can't handle Pathfinder or whatever. That's not interesting.
Keith bemoaned one time at Gen Con that he was playing Crix into his 3 list, and one of his 3 lists was more Nebra, and he played against Crix every round.
Yeah.
It's like, well, okay. Guess who sucks against Crix?
Yeah.
Well, it was kind of the same thing with me, even in the Oshkosh tournament. My 2 casters was Ron and Viros 2, and if I was locked where I had to take Ron, my opponent could have just taken Severius.
Yeah.
And I'd be, how do I kill him with my Ron list?
Severus is running around. He's doing a little dance in the middle of Fiend. Severus is having
I guess
a time.
battle mages go up and punch him?
Yeah, they charge him, which would be hilarious.
They do hit hard.
I've been on the receiving end of a Charge of the Battle Mages. There's
Yeah.
a reason that theme force is called Charge of the Battle Mages.
Yeah.
They are surprisingly scary in melee.
But and like I said, Privateer Press is pretty smart. They'll come up with some solutions. I guess I'm not,
I could see a 2.5. I mean, I could easily see a War Machine Mark II remix. I could easily see something like that. And even the last errata that came out was almost a remix by itself, because
Well, the
had some
last 2
system-wide
erratas are getting
changes.
bigger and bigger, and they're approaching the game, and which is cool. I think that's amazing. It is also frustrating that I think they're changing their plastics around. They're doing some stuff with their models, but man, the delay it takes for some of their models to come out is just getting
It is frustrating.
old. The fact that we have Colossus from the last book not up, we got Gargantuans out, models from the book before that War Machine book still not out.
You don't
I mean,
need your 2 scoops, Cricks, Jack.
I mean, there used to be the occasional weird model that just got lost in limbo that you figured there was some mold problems, and it was like that one model had a problem, or
Bombardiers?
whatever. Yeah, Bombardiers, exactly. The one unit.
or the Desters.
Desters
same
as
thing,
well.
But now it's like it's just so much, and it just gets a little frustrating.
Cricks going a year without getting a model
Yeah.
was one of the big standout
That's a weird
things.
thing. In that company, one thing about Privateer Press, as good as they are, they get weird, tight-lipped about certain things, and that's sometimes they refuse like address those kind of things publicly for whatever reason. They're afraid. I don't know. It's odd sometimes how they act.
Yeah, I mean, like
Occasionally.
the
Tell us why you
comparison,
killed Monster Apocalypse.
Yeah.
the comparison of like the Reliance release to the Grolar's release to the Inflictor's release
Yeah.
to probably the Inditer's release, which I know Protector doesn't care about it, but it's gonna happen sometime.
Yeah.
But I agree with you that could also be part of the
Forgot about
stag.
Inditer.
Yeah,
That guy looks amazing.
He
Protector
does.
doesn't care about him?
No, they don't because it's not a Reckoner, and it's
That thing has got Banshee wailing all the goddamn time too. It's like,
But-
what? Really?
Yeah, I think it's a neat Jack, and that's besides the point. But
Okay. Ooh, that's a positive to point into this too. It sounds like that Malifaux is having the exact same production issues as what Privateer is having with their plastics because of China.
Yeah.
So
Well, there we
it's
go.
it's
Thanks,
it's good to
Bill
know that it's not just Privateer, at least that it's other companies
Well, no one
too.
gives a fuck about Malifaux. So if Privateer Press is having some same problem with some dinky little Malifaux company, if
Yeah.
Malifaux is just there has been wannabe skirmish, Guild Ball-esque stupid little side thing.
Remember when people cared about Malifaux?
Yeah, that was adorable.
yeah.
Adorable.
If you wanna-
that week was great.
the picture perfect thing of like what not to do with your game is with that company.
Yeah.
Ugh, that's bad.
They do make pretty models.
They make
Their
some
models
pretty
look really
models.
nice, and that's why they really appear to neckbeardy jerk off people. But like, that's like I still have. This is my small guild ball rant, but like I heard through the grapevine, and I could be completely wrong on this because I don't read the rules, but like they kind of have the same setup that turned me off to competitive Malifaux. Is that when you started a game with Malifaux, you didn't tell your opponent your list. You didn't have a list. You had your faction, your whole fucking faction. And then they were like, oh, well, I play this faction, I play this faction. Then you build your list. There's one faction in Malifaux that's completely built to fuck over every single faction. Like it has specialists that screw factions. And that was a problem. But I'm sure there were power levels that made it different, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But Guild Ball kind of runs the same way. And I feel like for people saying that it's extremely balanced, it's probably got a handful of models, and that's why it's balanced. In 2 years, I don't think it's going to be like that. But that's just my mini rant of why I think it's comparatively going to be a bad problem down the line.
But there's new Blood Bowl models on the way.
I know that was it's the death of Guild Ball. New Blood Bowl is coming out. It's done.
I'm excited.
What was the point of Blood Bowl 2?
What do you mean for the PC?
Yeah, what was the point?
New
It's-
revamped graphics updated, new league things, I think, campaign stuff.
They also added a new team as well. The Bretonians are in there.
All right.
It still has less teams than Blood Bowl 1, but it'll eventually have as many.
Yeah, it's basically just a revamp on the engine that ran it. It's really
I still
more so-
have Blood Bowl, so I didn't feel a need to buy it.
You don't need to.
You and I still have to play our league game.
Yes, we do. That now we're looking at a year old for that, because I think it was a football season last year.
Probably was.
But no, they had released 2 new models for the new Blood Bowl for Games Workshop Specialist Games, and they look pretty awesome. I'm excited to see actual official Games Workshop done models for Blood Bowl rather
Well, now
than
that it's not like the 1980s, we put some putty together and made a face.
well, like they made up in 5th edition. They made up a couple new models for it. They had a human team. They had Skaven, some of the new star players that were done there by Allie Morrison. I'm excited because I don't know. It's Blood Bowl.
Because it's fun and new and interesting.
Yeah.
But I think to get back to War Machine Point and close it up for me at least is I think Privateer Press has the tools to change things to make it so people don't feel that stagnation anymore and don't have the complaints about the game, because I feel like eventually Privateer Press could very well have a perfect game if they just follow some of those points. Like I don't know if I can even give out like exact examples of what they need to fix, but I know there's things that need to be adjusted to a point where I think they could end up with something very perfect. Right now, I just think there are some things that need to be changed, but it's not because the game's stagnant. I think it's for a completely different reason. And the people who just scream stagnancy, War Machine shit, they need to reassess the situation and take their emotions out of their assessment. Emotions are the best! and do what Brian does. And he looked at it more.
When I'm the mature one, you know you're all fucked.
I know, that's bad. It's a bad world. So that's my point of I agree with you and disagree with you at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So we're on the same level. I also owe myself $5 because I bet that it was what you were going to say.
So we're all going to play Guild Ball now, right?
No, we're going to play Blood Bowl when it comes out.
Okay.
So this is going to be a callback to our first topic of the day. I was looking through the tweeters to find if we had Zoopal Grobbles. And
Zoopal Grovels? Is that what we're calling it now?
yeah, so I came across a tweet where this guy says, "Today I learned the plural of armed black person is thugs.
Yeah.
The plural of armed brown person is terrorists. The plural of armed white person is militia."
My comment on that was, or patriot.
Patriot.
Because they were calling for all patriots to stand up with them.
Oh, God damn it.
I hate people so much. I always say, like, individually, I like people like you guys are like. But, like, as a civilization, if every human being died, I would be so happy.
Just 80%.
No, I'm fine with wiping out everything. I don't want to be the guy who picks the 80-20%. I'm
I
fine.
wouldn't pick. It can be random.
No, well, I mean that'd be interesting too. I mean, I'd be fine if it was completely random because that'd be pretty
Just like
interesting.
the left behind. Just
Yeah.
80% of people just vanished.
Yeah. But
Except none of my friends. Except Glenn.
yeah. Wait, you inclined to stay or go?
Yeah.
All right. Are we going to? We have Zappity Grumble time.
Yeah, there's kickoff in 42 minutes.
Or
so
should we-
we
should we
need
just
to
go-
Zappity.
or should
I
we
was-
just
I
go-
saw one.
We have that mountain from Green from last
Yeah,
week.
too bad.
We do,
That's
but that was so last year.
Yeah.
Whatever,
So-
we can lightning round that.
No, let's not. Let's just do a couple of those and get into recommendations and be done.
Okay, because the one I saw on Twitter was, what's everybody's favorite Star Wars game? Board game, video game.
I'll go first. Ha! Sorry. I like the original West End Games Star Wars role-playing game.
Is that the one where when you had dark side points, it was really, really good?
Yep.
You might turn, so the first thing you did with a new character was just shoot a nun in the face and then be nice for the rest of the game.
Well, I
You
mean,
couldn't turn to the dark side with only 1 point, but that 1 point made you really good.
yeah. I liked how that system interacted as a storytelling element, how it matched the movies. Like Luke had a dark side point that he used to pull the lightsaber away from the Emperor to attack Vader, and spent another one just beating Vader down, in a sense.
He was grumpy.
He was pretty upset.
Don't talk about his sister.
Yeah,
She's a good kisser.
sister. But I really like that. I didn't play it as much as I should have, but I like that role-playing game.
It's a good system.
I'm all over BioWare's first Sweet Talk moment with me with Knights of the Old Republic. That game was amazing, and it still is. I bought it on sale with Steam, even though my computer just decided to take a shit on me. I think it's full of flock and
You
paint.
can get it on
so-
phone and tablets now, too.
I know I saw that, but I was like, I don't know if I'm ready to go just in that round yet. I'm kind of like an old man in that
I got
sense.
Final Fantasy 3 for my iPad, and I played it like an hour at a time for like a couple of weeks, and then I realized Final Fantasy games, you can't play it an hour at a time and accomplish anything. So I stopped playing it, and I was sad.
Was that the same 3? Was that 6?
No, it was Kafka 3. It was I only referred to them as the American 3. Fuck the any other thing. We're in America.
Okay.
Fucking, I'm a patriot.
Because you had
And I kind of think like, God damn, where they came in. Fucking America.
That's too many syllables.
I know, I felt bad with saying
Yeah.
it that way.
Yeah, that was very
That was all four of them.
enunciated.
I know. But I was so angry I forgot to not pronunciate.
America!
Pew pew.
News stories
Anyway.
tomorrow. Brian Hostley takes over a local GameStop for trying to sell him Final Fantasy.
When I was a kid in
What's
the
your Star-
local,
what's your
when
Star
I was a
Wars?
kid in the local bowling alley where we would go to fish fries, they had the wireframe trench run arcade game from Episode 4. Where that was
the old Star Wars?
I
Yeah.
spent
the
a
old
lot
Star Wars
of
one,
hours
yeah.
playing
Where
that.
it was literally wireframe, and so sometimes like a post would be coming, you couldn't tell if that was the outside of a middle post or the outside edges of an upper and a bottom post, and so you'd ram straight into it because it was all fucking wireframe see-through.
Yeah.
I played a lot of that game.
I may have to agree with Kerr on the Knights of the Republic.
I mean, that's
1.
the right answer.
That
That's
is an
why I
amazing
changed my
game.
answer.
It is the right answer. 2 is almost good. 2 is pretty good, except for the end. It gets a little rough. But
Star Wars Dancing with the Kinect for the Xbox 360.
I've played some old-fashioned Star Wars chess, which was pretty amazing back like in the late 90s, which was pretty ridiculous.
There's
Andy actually, his role-playing one is pretty good.
Yeah.
Shadows of the Empire for the old Nintendo 64 was pretty cool.
Board game-wise, I think the new Imperial
Imperial Salt.
is so... that's
Lego Star Wars Original Trilogy.
That was pretty good.
I like the Lego games.
Lego Star Wars is pretty
The Lego
slick,
games
too.
are all great.
They've made some...
Yeah.
And
all
Imperial
of the
Assault
Lego-
is a fantasy flight. There's a board one and there's a space one. I always get there's the one with where you play the Imperial ships.
I want to say it was
Armada.
Armada.
Yeah.
Armada. That's Armada. Not Imperial Assault. Actually, is too flawed to be great.
Yeah, I know
But
you were digging on that one.
Imperial Assault is. I've only played it a little bit, but my God, it is beautiful.
Armada, you mean?
Armada is beautiful.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
it.
that was the one I found on Twitter. And I didn't find any on our Fubo.
The Princess Leia dance game is pretty good too. That might have been a dream.
Yes.
And it was current Princess Leia. It was still good.
You had to work the joystick a lot in that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that playing with myself count as a Star Wars game.
I won that one.
Just taking our dining room chairs and putting them on their back and then sitting on the back of them with their back up against the seat so that the 4 legs are sticking out behind you and pretending it's the cockpit of an X-Wing count as a Star Wars
The old
game.
Atari-
'Cause I did that a fuckload when I was a
The
kid.
old Atari game where you
That's
just
the
fought
idea.
adepts until you died.
Oh, yeah.
You just
The
there's never
nonstop
an end. It
addict.
was nonstop adepts. No matter how many you killed, it just eventually died.
Yeah,
was
that
a
game was somewhat fun.
It wa-
and it only gave you one harpoon cable, too.
Yeah.
Because I remember you could only do that once with the harpoon cable.
It was very limited. I played a lot of that game.
All right, so what's this marathon? Hit us with some green stuff.
I don't want to.
I don't want to participate in any of this.
I want
don't?
to. No.
All right,
Being done early is always a benefit.
4, 3, 2, 1. Is it wrong to wear I support Ben Solo T-shirt?
No.
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 No. Good or a bad idea? New Lego collection based on Vin Diesel movies.
That's a bad idea, I think.
Yeah.
Iron Giant? I support it.
No, the thing
just
is that
thinking
when you
like-
think of Vin Diesel movies, you don't immediately
The pacifier.
You think of
I would love a Lego set of that. He's covered in poop. It's like ah.
Yeah, I'm supporting the shit out of this. The pacifier, the tooth fairy.
That was
Rock.
Dwayne Johnson.
They're not the same person?
No.
no.
Oh.
One's from Hawaii.
Yes.
One's
Whatever.
from space.
Pacifier, Iron Giant, the Fast and Furious things.
The one where he's that fat mobster.
Yeah. Yes.
It's a good
Do
movie.
it. Scorpion King.
Zappity Grumble. Does Santa have special elves that make sex toys?
Oh, yeah, I saw a
Obviously.
picture about that one.
Really?
Dildo Baggins.
That's not an elf. That's a hobbit.
No, it was an elf he was making dildos. And the other guy was like, "Oh, that's a great job, elf person, making the Gandalfs." And then he screams over to elf person 2 and says, "How are the Bilbos coming?" And he's got a table of dicks.
Because he misheard. Ah, wackiness.
So they have the technology.
We can make him stronger.
I get it because it's not.
Yeah. I hate it. I hate it when I actually have to read things twice and then have to try to formulate the sentence in my head to try to say it. Best way to cruise for Lady White Van and Candy or your shiniest Huffy?
Oh, the Huffy,
The
man.
Huffy, yeah.
With the spokes on the back so they can stand on
Exactly.
there.
Yep. And if you have a little basket on the front, but it's like a masculine basket, I think it works.
Oh, sorry. For some odd reason, I combined
You were
the
Lady
words,
White Van.
The Lady White Van.
Yeah.
I'm like, that made no fucking
There
sense.
needs to be some punctuation in there.
Here is Lady White Van.
and Candy.
Lady White Van and Candy. That's a new detective mystery series. Like Jake and the Fat Man. It's Lady White Van and Candy.
I keep on thinking of the Family Guy thing with Jake and the Fat Man, with the Fat Man just sitting in a chair going, "Is that a clue? This cigarette's got lipstick on it. Can you bring it over?"
I don't get it.
He was fat.
Yeah, he was fat.
No, it's
He was like, I'm not gonna taint this crime scene. He's like, "Ah," and he just falls asleep. That's the Fat Man. Zappity. What are the odds that one of you guys is wearing women's underwear?
94%.
Zappity. Best or worst Christmas gift Star Wars spoilers. We already went over Star Wars.
Yeah, we blew that case wide open.
Yep. Actually, that was a retweet from the 20th of December, the favorite Star Wars video board game.
Fancy.
Yep.
Answered. You're welcome.
Yep. Is pie better than cake?
Yes. I love cake, but fuck cake. Pie.
Have you seen the cake pie?
Yes.
Yeah,
It'd
but-
be better if it was just pie.
I'll go with pie being the winner.
I
here.
think I like cake more than pie. I also like ketchup. I'm on the podcast. I'm watching it. And the guy doesn't cut it in and out. And all I can cut between the in and out is you insulting ketchup. And I can't get to the feed. I was busy because I didn't come here. And I was like, I almost drove here anyway just to walk and punch you, pour ketchup all over you, and then leave. Sorry.
I was really close to posting something on Facebook for you. It was a video of like some Chinese, like, or Japanese, Korean something, a yellow person, doing like fan porn, and she was just like swimming in a tub of ketchup, just like pouring it all over herself and all over a French fry. But I didn't want to insult you by making your friends see that, thinking that that's what got you going.
How attractive was she?
She was a 9.
See, then the ketchup's ruining her. You start with like a 4 or a 5, the ketchup brings it up. That's its
I
strength.
don't know. It's all right, I guess. I don't know.
Everything needs ketchup.
Might have got hungry.
Anyway.
Does your cake need ketchup?
Okay, fine. That's one thing. well, maybe the flavors. But anyway. Sorry. That was in me for a week or two. It needed to come out.
He needed to release. Now he needs a cigarette.
That's it. That's all I saw on here, and that's all I'm gonna.
Anything new in chat?
Someone's who's in blue? Who's talking all the time?
That's Nick.
God damn it! Nick.
Non-Euclidean Nick.
Yeah. Thank God you said it, because I would have messed it up.
I don't know what that means.
Euclidean geometry is like the rules of our universe with how things are shaped. So non-Euclidean things are shaped like a
I'm so bored. I don't care anymore.
a Klein bottle.
God,
A Klein bottle.
you're like you're full of useless information.
Do you know a Mobius strip?
Yes.
So a Mobius strip is 2-dimensional that's wrapped so that it only has one face. The Klein bottle is a 3-dimensional version of a Mobius strip. So it's almost like a bottle, and it goes. Its spout opening is also an opening on the bottom because it intersects through itself. You can get actual Klein bottle beer steins if you're a nerd.
I thought
Those are non-Euclidean.
I thought he just did that "Get Busy Child" song.
What?
The Mobius. Yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I got it.
Is it Mobius?
Moby.
Mobius.
Moby.
Is it Mobius a vampire?
Yes. No, Mobius is Neo's friend in The Matrix.
He's also the new Biothrall commander that's coming out.
No,
soon.
he's also a vampire
yes.
and he gives him a
from
red pill.
Marvel. He's in
so
Doctor Strange. I
the
think.
new
He's
Bloat-Thrall Solo is a vampire from The Matrix.
Yep.
That makes sense.
Who does music.
That does music.
Yeah.
Do we have recommendations?
I have recommendations. I already know that Brian's going to yell at one of mine.
I have one. You can go. I'll let you go first.
No, sorry. No, I'm fucking happy. I wanted to do the podcast last week, but we had people sick and people dropping out on us. So
I don't want to put on pants.
yeah. So this was supposed to be for last week. I recommend Making a Murderer.
Oh,
It's a Netflix
yeah.
documentary. It's about a guy who was wrongfully convicted of a rape.
You don't know who was
spent-
wrongfully
the
convicted.
first one he was.
He was wrongfully convicted of
Well,
a rape
the-
back in early '80s. Spent 18 years in jail. Was released. I believe almost less than a year later, suddenly was convicted or was accused of and then convicted of a murder that happened on his property.
I applaud those police for the second one because they searched his small home for like 4 days,
No.
but they kept at it.
8 days.
8 days, but they kept at it until they suddenly found a lot of incriminating evidence.
Yes.
If they'd given up within that first week, he'd still be walking free.
I
but
saw a
luckily,
clip-
day 8, they were like, "Oh, oops! Found a bloody gun," and everything worked out great for them.
No. They found a set of keys.
Yeah.
A set of keys, and then after they've searched his entire property, they came back 4 months later, searched his garage again after they've already done that before, and then found a single bullet.
Oh, see, good on them.
Good
for
on them.
keeping at it.
I saw a prosecutor. I saw. I saw one clip. I saw multiple things of it, but the part that did make me laugh was the prosecutor is like, police would only put evidence on a crime scene if they believe the guy was innocent. They wouldn't. I mean, he was guilty. They wouldn't just put evidence on an innocent person's place. The cops truly believe he was guilty. So then, if planted evidence just helps them along, that's not a problem. It's just they wouldn't plant evidence on an innocent person. They would only plant evidence on a guilty person.
Yeah,
That made me laugh.
Like 80% of innocent people will confess.
Yeah, if they're pressured. Like basically, the biggest problem I have is his nephew. His nephew has an IQ of like 75.
Yeah,
I mean he is extremely slow of a person. As they're going to have pretty much the whole interview, as they're interviewing him for a confession, they're feeding him information step by step throughout this whole thing.
The best part of that is the guy feeds him like 4 or 5 things. Like, didn't you think it was weird that lady was there? The bus driver thought it was weird. Your friends thought it was weird. This guy thought it was weird. You thought it was weird too, didn't you? I mean, I'm not putting anything in your head, but you thought it was weird, didn't you? It's like, oh, okay, just saying that line magically makes it so that you aren't.
Yeah, it's
weird because the guy is white. That's the part that made me, because I mean they spent all this time putting a white guy in jail.
Well, the main thing, which I can see the motivation behind the officers, I don't think the officers killed her. I don't think they did that.
No, but
I think somebody else killed her, and then they basically helped that person maybe have him take the fall. But
I don't think they helped that person. I think that because that implies that they knew the person or something, and were persuaded. They just had no fucking idea. 90% of the time, if the police are going to frame somebody, it's because they have nothing on anybody. And maybe they do have one tiny lean, like, well, this guy maybe kind of, I guess it's possible. Fuck it, let's go with him. And then they just throw it all on top of that guy because they need something.
Another great motivation to do this type of thing, too, is that all the officers that were involved in this investigation that also found all the quote-unquote incriminating evidence were also named into a giant $36 million lawsuit that was brought about him for the wrongful conviction that he had. So that seems like that would be a good motivation. If I'm being sued for $36 million and I could possibly make it so he seems...
Because he settled for, what, $400,000?
He had to settle for $400,000 so he could actually pay for his defense, which unfortunately did not work at all. It's so sad watching this because you kind of feel hope for the guy throughout the entire process. And, yeah. I may have just given away the entire series, but watch it anyway.
I wish it wasn't as long as it was. I think it could have been a little bit shorter.
Yeah,
That's my only statement.
I think because it went so long, I think it feels like that they're presenting more of the actual evidence that happened. Supposedly the prosecutor jumped online afterwards and said that they missed some important stuff too. Yeah. And what did they miss?
And the important stuff he mentioned was like nothing.
Yeah,
I wore a blue tie one day. Like, okay, buddy.
Yeah, it's a very compelling documentary.
A lot of people have watched it locally because it takes place in Wisconsin, so that has gotten like more of an appeal locally. It's also like when you open Netflix, it's like the big thing that pops up on Netflix right now.
It's not the ridiculous 6 anymore.
No, God no.
Anything else with your recommendation?
No, that's it. I really, really like that documentary. It was pulled me in.
I'm going to recommend Pandemic Legacy. Nathan and I and the
Revenge of Lil Bitch
are playing it. We've completed it takes place over 12 game months, and each game month you have 1 or 2 chances to win it. We're like 5. We've completed 5 of the months.
We beat May. Yeah, we beat May. Yeah.
It starts off like a basic Pandemic, and then the game just evolves based on like a legacy style game. You have all these you basically keep on opening up these envelopes as you play the game and kind of unlocking new things. It'll say, when this happens, open up envelope 4, and then open up this box, and this happens here, and you're like, holy fuck, I can't believe this is happening. So what starts out as a normal Pandemic game slowly evolves into just insanity and fun. I mean, we've played 5 games of it back to back to back to back to back to back. On
Thursday
night.
New Year's Eve, we played 5 games of it.
I mean,
one of the games took 5 minutes.
We lost on turn 6, which was amazing.
A 4-player game, 1.5 rounds. Like, we lost on player turn 6.
They're missing such a big opportunity.
What?
for instead of having envelopes, why didn't you have little vials?
Well, they're not. First of all, they're not envelopes. They're just cardboard things. But yeah,
Cardboard boxes.
yeah, I was just saying envelopes for the sake of. But
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
vials would be also. I mean, it'd be neat.
It's
But
super expensive.
expensive.
Well, the disposable games in general, like the Pandemic Legacy and Rick's Legacy, which unfortunately we never finished playing that. I wish we'd go back and do. I don't even know where my.
It's here.
It's here.
It's downstairs.
Yeah, I mean, we were enjoying Risk Legacy, the 2 games of it we played, I think, but Pandemic Legacy as well, and I liked the Time Stories game
Yeah.
that I played at War Machine Weekend. Yeah, those disposable games are really cool.
Yeah, I'm really happy with our enjoyment. I mean, Pandemic Legacy is amazing. I think it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And you only need 4 people. It's not like you don't need a whole bunch of people.
Nope.
But you want to play with the same. I mean, I think once you get those same 4 are going to go from the beginning to the end to see the game evolve.
Yeah,
So
you want to see it through.
I think it helps. Oh, I was going to say.
You could play with 3 too. You don't need to play with 4. A game is very well scalable.
I think it helps if everyone really likes that game as well. It sounds
Yeah.
like Pandemic is a more enjoyable game than Risk.
Well,
at the
well,
time.
maybe, but I'm not even. I'll be honest. Pandemic. I own like 4 versions of Pandemic, and I think it's an okay game. Legacy is just this whole other level of enjoyment.
If you hadn't played, like in my position, I'm trying to do one of these disposable games for the Baraboo folks. I am curious with Pandemic, if you haven't played it, do you think it would still be enjoyable as the Legacy version?
Yeah.
Okay. It's the game is very simple to learn, the base game of Pandemic. And the issue I have with Pandemic is that the game is very boring because I would not want to play Pandemic many, many times.
No.
But the Legacy allows it to change and grow, and it makes it exciting every game you play. It changes a little bit, and they get the progress, and it just is so much more of an experience than just, well, let's play another game of Pandemic.
I would never play 5 games of regular Pandemic in a row.
Right.
Yeah. There's no scenario where I would want to do that. I would play 1 to 2 and be done for like 8 months.
That's I felt the same way during Risk Legacy. I have played through the full game before, and I hate Risk, but Risk Legacy was decent.
Yeah.
Well, the map change. Like I've seen people. Unfortunately, we only played a few games, but I've seen people's game boards for Risk Legacy. When you're like 8-10 games in, that map, everything is labeled. There's bunkers, there's cities. Everything just plays differently, and the rules don't radically change as much. But Pandemic, there's literally like you have stickers you put in the rulebook, and things are just constantly changing and evolving. And what was true last game is false this game, and then all these things happen. There are certain boxes you only open if you lose 4 games in a row, which we haven't yet. But I mean, with the way things are going, I'm surprised we haven't.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah. We've never even lost 2 in a row.
Now we have lost a couple
We
games.
lost a couple,
but
and
never-
one of them was hilariously, brutally fast. And it was also, like, yeah, it was like we're battling against Superman and the Green Lantern, and then just, like, Timmy from South Park punches us in the dick and beats us. Like, it was just so bizarre how we lost that one.
It was a very precise dick punch.
And it was deserved, because we were... Overconfidence is a slow and insidious killer.
And effective.
Yes.
Yeah, so that is my suggestion. Play Pandemic Legacy if you have a group of 3 or 4 friends who, like I said, it takes between 12 and 24 sessions. I know Mike Parker, I think his group finished the game, I think, in 4 sittings. And so 4 weekends, they just dedicated days and they're done. For us, it'll probably take us, we'll finish sometime in January.
We have 7 more months, yeah, and so if we play it every Monday, if we play twice, I mean, we have somewhere between 7 and 14 games to play.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I think it's very well worth your time.
Yeah.
Who's next?
I am going to do a follow-up recommendation because there's something that Brian recommended, and I watched 1 season of it, and then I don't have cable, so I didn't watch the 2nd season, but then the 2nd season's on Hulu now, so I've started watching the 2nd season. And if you are a nihilist, and if you like cringe not death, but cringeworthy humor where you're just like, oh my god, everything's terrible, like Curb Your Enthusiasm and Always Sunny in Philadelphia or the producers, and you did not listen to his advice and watch Review, you should watch Review. Because Review is really, really good. Like the 2nd season...
Have you finished it yet?
I have not.
Okay.
I'm only a couple episodes in.
I can't say anything then.
I have tomorrow.
I can't either.
I don't work until 3:30 on Tuesday. I will watch the entire 2nd season by that time.
Man, you have a good day ahead of you.
I know. I would probably watch all of it
Also,
for more money.
kind of cringe. And sometimes you have to pause. You have to used to walk away sometimes.
Here's an example. One of the darkest jokes I've ever seen in television is in the opening credits as a throwaway gag in season 2. Have you seen it at all, or are you familiar with the premise of it? The premise, it pretends to be a real documentary, but the guy reviews real life experiences. So you write into him and you're like, review what it's like to go into space. So he goes into space and reviews what's like going into space.
Or
And maybe,
taking heroin or whatever.
Yeah, becoming
Cocaine.
addicted to cocaine, getting
Okay,
divorced.
5 stars.
Yeah, $5. The first season he got divorced because someone told him to get divorced, and so he didn't tell his wife why, because that would ruin the integrity.
experience. Yeah.
So in the opening credits, they show examples of various things in reviews, and one of the things they're showing is babysitting, and the clip is him guiding the police through an empty field looking for corpses.
And he's like, someone's over here.
Yeah, over here.
Like baby star, like 1.5.
Babysitting 1.5 stars. It's like, oh my god.
Yeah, that's. Oh, I can't wait to. I'm gonna have to watch season 2 again so I can catch up and
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
refresh it.
Blackmail. He can't think of anyone to blackmail because he tries Googling secrets nobody else knows that I can use to blackmail celebrities, and of course
His
it comes
father
up.
is a bigger character in season 2. So
Yeah.
I won't spoil it for you.
Come
Yeah.
on, what's it like to be a little person?
Yes, yeah, they're not all necessarily terrible. Like the
what if it
pancakes
could be-
one, the pancakes one that Brian loves so much in the first season is really not like as Schadenfreudy, but it's just the second one just because like the pancakes could not kill me because I was already dead.
He's like, yeah, I just.
Mechanically shoving pancakes in his face.
What somebody also mentioned too is like Todd Margaret is probably one of his favorites.
Todd Margaret.
First season of Todd Margaret is the best. Second season is okay, but first season is so
Any
good.
season where it ends, spoiler, where the world basically is destroyed, is always makes that show better.
Yeah,
And they, end the world in that show. So
What was the name? It wasn't. So Brando was in Idiocracy. What was the name of the stuff in
there's Thunder Muscle.
Thunder Muscle?
Thunder
yeah,
Muscle.
like
Caution to proceed.
Caution to proceed
with beverage.
with beverage. Caution to proceed with beverage.
Nice.
Yeah, if you like cringe humor and you didn't listen to Brian, you should have listened to Brian.
Yeah. Yep.
Makes sense.
And that actor, the guy who stars in that, is so good.
Yep.
Yeah.
his co-host is so subtly funny.
Yes.
I might give it a shot tonight then.
You'll
You should.
enjoy it.
You will.
I'm actually going to rewatch all The Wrong Mans because I haven't seen that in a while, and it makes me sad. I can't quote that movie well enough, or that TV show well
Yeah.
enough.
You roll deep. You got
Yeah,
that as a
you're-
good quest. We roll deep, but there's
Just watch review.
watch review.
So for my recommendation right now, the War Machine and Hordes painting group has started a challenge for the 365 points at the end of the year, so a point a day painting challenge. And I got wrapped up in that, and I think if people are having an issue trying to get their stuff painted, if they want to go to some events where they might have painting required, which is so infrequent right now, I think that this is a good way to try and get you in a community that's going to help promote painting stuff. It's pretty legit. Right now, I've burned through in the first 3 days of the month my 31, and I'm working. I think I'll end up having 72 painted of my own stuff by the end of the month.
Sure.
And with all of the other projects I have for everybody else, I think I'm going to be cusping at maybe 100 or 150. And I didn't even realize like that I paint that much in a month. It's ridiculous. What am I doing with my life? That's my recommendation.
Is what am I doing with my life?
So should we have like a themed episode next week where we'll do like a kind of like a year
A year in review.
or no in preview? We'll talk about what we
Preview
want
year.
to do in the next year. Fuck last year.
I don't plan things around calendar years, so I'm never fun for that.
I use the Jewish year.
You got to experience New Year's Eve exactly correct. this
Yes!
year. For the first time.
Although
in-
Pitbull tried to fuck it up
They try to
again.
fuck you up. It's just a year after year watching you fail at New Year's Eve has been a
It
highlight.
it is pretty good.
I finally got it this time. Like the first time in almost a decade now, I actually got to do the countdown. But Pitbull tried to fuck it up because, see, I knew this time not to stay on Dick Clark's Rocking New Year's Eve because they don't fucking rewind, which is stupid. Like, why would you not do that?
What do you mean rewind?
So it used to be they'd show the ball drop live, okay? And then at about 12:30, they'd rewind to 11. They'd go back and they'd show that half hour again. So we'd watch the ball drop. Now this time it's 1 hour delay, but it's live for us. And then they'd do it again for the Mountain Time. And so they'd show that same footage of New York's ball dropping every hour, and you could count down with it, even though it was only live the first time. They don't do that anymore. So all they do is they show the ball drop live, and then come midnight our time, it's just an hour into the after party at New York, and they're just all dancing in the confetti. And it's like, what's the fucking point? I don't care about a bunch of New Yorkers dancing for an hour. I want to see the ball drop. So that's what bit me 2 years ago at the Shays house.
That was glorious.
It's fucking insane. Like, what? Whose programming decision was that? And so last year, Pitbull fucked me because he doesn't know how to count. And then this year, he tried to do it again, but apparently the producers were on top of that. Because, like, the countdown was going, and it was on, like, 5, and he was on 8. Like, how are you that far back?
Yeah, they had a huge countdown behind him, so you ignored what he was saying, you just watched the actual countdown.
Yeah.
It was
Like,
pretty good
got
stuff.
it.
I brought in the New Year's by playing WoW with a friend.
Fancy enough, I was painting War Machine models.
I was awake, which was my big thing.
Yeah. Because we just played 5 games of Pandemic.
Yeah.
And eating some good Papa Murphy's pizza.
Speaking of pizza, are you staying for the Packer game?
Maybe.
All right, we should get some pizza.
Okay.
We should call it now.
All right.
Okay. Does anybody have anything else?
No closing.
Nihilist
thoughts from
Arby's
me.
is funny.
Nihilist Arby's is good.
Or what about Kylo Ren?
Emo Kylo Ren, of course.
Lonely Luke is
That has
okay,
been
too.
the best thing to come out of Star Wars. Is every emo Kylo Ren thing ever.
You know what's the most annoying thing that came out of Star Wars? Is the 2 years of fan theories we have to sit through.
Yeah, it's like the writing on.
And they're all stupid.
They're all fucking stupid.
Are we still broadcasting?
We're
or no?
still broadcasting.
Every possible Rey origin story is stupid.
Yes.
Either Luke got laid. That's
Yeah.
stupid.
Well, that can happen. I can see that happen. I mean,
People
it's-
can have sex.
yeah.
Jedi aren't supposed to.
Yeah, but sometimes they get
But
lonely.
that's fine. Either Luke got laid, which he shouldn't have, and it's way too obvious.
That's my thing. It's too obvious.
Or she's the reincarnation of Anakin Skywalker made pure with the Force and not from any person, which some people are banning about because that's how
Oh,
Anakin...
you fucking hurt my head. Don't. That's
stupid.
oh, I haven't even
Or
heard
she's
that one.
Han and Leia's kid, like Kylo's sister, which is also stupid because you'd think Han would have reacted.
That's kind of where I was thinking of. Well, no, it could be a pregnancy that Leia kept from.
Maybe
Han?
Leia didn't know either.
Maybe it was
Yeah.
a Leia. Maybe it was
But
a Leia
that's-
Luke.
It
thing.
was
That
like
would've-
that MTV show, like she pooped it out at prom and then they took it away to Jakku without telling her.
Yeah.
But I mean, that could be the reasoning why she went to her immediately.
It's
If it was her daughter.
It's a Leia Luke baby.
To be fair, that's not a big deal if you don't think about it. Like, if you don't
They
think
could also just
about
never mention her
if you
parents.
don't think about Chewbacca's life, because they don't ever say in the movies that Chewbacca has a life debt to Han Solo's family. I mean,
Right.
it's a thing you know as a geek, and you know it's a big important thing. But as like a casual viewer, you go, "Oh, it's just Chewbacca. He's just there." You don't
his
think
buddy.
you don't think that Chewbacca was probably there when Kylo Ren when Ben Solo was born. He was probably there for their entire lives. You don't think about that because they don't. But it's obviously what was happening, so it should have
Can you
been.
imagine
Did you see the
Kylo
thing
with
online?
like baby Uncle Chewie? Like just
Yeah.
playing around with
Yeah.
little baby.
Did you see the thing online with how Han sees Chewbacca?
Yes.
Oh God,
Yeah.
yes.
And how yeah. I want that.
Yeah, I would like that too.
I have one random Star Wars complaint at the end of the day with if the Mary Sue complaints is so offensively stupid, it's
If
frustrating.
Ray was named Roy and had a dick, nobody would have complained.
Yeah.
The what?
Well, it's a Mary Sue, which is in a fan fiction. If I write a Star Trek story and I
Sure.
talk about Ensign Nathan Hoffman and he's a super genius and he's super strong and he solves all the problems and Kirk wishes he was as cool as Ensign Hoffman, that's a Mary Sue. Is when the author, a terrible author, just takes themselves, puts them in there, gives themselves a
But
big
it's
dick and
typically
muscles.
a female character.
Yeah,
in
well,
general.
Twilight is the big example. The character in Twilight is
Is-
literally Stephanie Myers.
Sure.
Like, she's physically described exactly as Stephanie Myers is. So this is obviously just her masturbatorial fantasy. And that's a Mary Sue. And yeah, people are saying that about Rey. She's too good at flying. She's too good at the Force. She's too good at sword fighting. She's just too good at everything. And that's just a Mary Sue thing. If that was a male character, they wouldn't have given two shits.
Luke adapted
No,
fairly
no.
fucking quickly in A New Hope.
See,
to-
he's just the protagonist, so he's good at stuff.
Oh.
She's a badly written Mary Sue.
Oh, okay. Jesus Christ. All right, I'm done.
That's all I had. That's my life. I'm out of complaints. I'm out of complaints. It's a new year. It's a miracle.
Yeah.
I'm spent. I quit.
Happy New Year.
Mer.